Part 1. When you don't lose. Because of strategy, but because you stay in front of the screen. Too long there is a truth that very few traders dare to admit. We do not lose because we lack a strategy. Not because we lack knowledge. Not because we do not know how to analyze. We lose because we show up too much. Too many hours in front of the screen. Too many times opening the chart. Too many trades in a single day. And too many thoughts. I used to be like that. There were days I opened the chart from early morning. I watched the Asian session. I watched the European session. I watched the US session too. Between sessions I still watched. Just a slight vibration from my phone and I opened the app again. Just a small tick in price and my heart beat one rhythm faster. I did not trade because there was an opportunity. I traded because I was there. And when you are there too long, the market will start to control you. 80,900% of traders in stocks, commodities, forex, crypto make the same mistake. They trade too much and spend too much time watching charts. At first they think that is hard work. They think the more they watch, the more they understand. The longer they stay, the more opportunities they catch. But the truth is the opposite. The longer you watch, the more you lose objectivity. The longer you stay, the easier you get pulled into every tiny breath of the market. And when you trade too much in one day, your brain begins to get tired. Your psychology begins to wear down. You do not realize it immediately, but the fatigue accumulates, like a glass slowly filling drop by drop. Every decision consumes a piece of energy. Every analysis forces the brain to process information. Every time price jerks up and down, your nervous system reacts. After a few hours, you are no longer the best version of yourself. You are the overloaded version. I remember once, a few years ago. In the morning I entered a very beautiful trade, right setup, right plan. I made a profit. If I had stopped there, that day would have been perfect. But I did not stop. I kept watching. Price ran, price spiked, price broke a small high. I thought, there is one more opportunity, then another opportunity. By the end of the day, I did not just lose the morning profit. I went negative. Not because the market changed, but because my brain was tired. When the brain is tired, you no longer see the market as it is. You see the market as your emotions are. That is when everything becomes dangerous. That trading is not a competition of who can sit longer. It is not a competition of who watches more time frames. Trading is a game of clarity, and clarity is a limited resource. Imagine you are a surgeon. Can you operate continuously for 12 hours with perfect precision? Or a pilot. Can you fly for many hours under high stress without making mistakes? A trader is the same. Every decision is a cut. Every trade is a surgery. You cannot do that all day with the same sharpness. But most traders behave as if they are machines. They think they can sit in front of the screen 810 hours and still maintain objectivity. No. The truth is, when we trade too much and too long in a single day, the brain leads to fatigue. Psychology declines. And from there, poor buy and sell decisions begin to appear. You enter because you feel. You exit because you are afraid. You hold because you hope. You move stop loss because you cannot accept. All of those things rarely happen in the first 30 minutes of a session. They usually happen after 34 hours of staring at charts, after reanalyzing the same price structure many times, after you have spent too much energy. That is why the real power in trading does not lie in trading more. It lies in trading within the right time window, a fixed period of time, intentional, limited, with a clear start and a clear end. Like a professional athlete, they do not train all day, they train at the right time, with the right volume, with the right intensity, and then they rest. Because they understand the body needs recovery. A trader needs recovery too. If you want to survive long-term in the market, you must learn to protect your mental energy. Every day dedicate a specific period of time to trade, not because the market only operates during that time, but because you should only operate during that time. You can choose the most active sessions, the European session, the US session, or the time window where you see the best liquidity, when the market has strong order flow, when the trend expresses itself clearly, when price movement feels cleaner, instead of sitting through choppy hours, instead of trying to catch every small move. Focus on the highest probability moment. Because trading is not about finding many opportunities, it is about choosing the right opportunity. I completely changed my performance with one simple decision. I only trade during a fixed time window each day. When time is up, I shut down. Whether I win, whether I lose, whether I regret. At first, it was very hard. It felt like I was missing something, like leaving a party while everyone is still talking. But then I realized most of that party is just noise, and I do not need to be there all night. When you trade with a tired brain and tired psychology, you are placing your money in the hands of a weaker version of yourself, and that is the most dangerous thing. Part 2. Fixed time window. When you no longer trade by emotion, but by structure. The first thing you will notice when you start trading within a fixed time window is that you become much less addicted to the market. It sounds strange, but let's be honest with each other. Many traders do not trade only for money. They trade for dopamine, for the rush when price runs, for the feeling of being in the game. It's just for the fear of missing out. When you open charts all day, you are exposing your nervous system to constant stimulation, like scrolling social media. Every candle that jumps, your brain receives a small hit. Every time price spikes strongly, your body reacts as if there is danger. Adrenaline rises, heart rate increases, focus spikes. But then, after many hours like that, you are exhausted. And when you are exhausted, you make mistakes more easily. A fixed time window is how you frame your nervous system. You tell your brain, from 1400 to 1600 I work. After that, I stop. The market does not decide when you enter the arena. You decide. That is a massive shift of power, from reacting to being intentional. I once had a student. He traded crypto, 247, no sessions, no closing hours. The market was always open. And he was always opening charts. At night, even lying in bed, he checked his phone. In the morning, the first thing he did was check price. He told me, I feel like there is always an opportunity. But his account was not growing, because when every moment feels like an opportunity, in reality, no moment is clearly an opportunity. We did something very simple. Choose a time window. Only trade for 2 fixed hours each day, for example from 9 to 11. Outside that window, no analysis, no entries, no adjusting trades. The first week he was extremely uncomfortable. It felt like cutting off a part of his body. It felt like missing something very important. But after 2 weeks, something strange happened. He became calmer, entered fewer trades, but the quality was higher. Because when you know you only have 2 hours, you cannot waste them. You cannot enter randomly just because you're bored. You cannot sit and wait for a vague setup. You begin to filter. You begin to ask, if I only have 1 bullet today, would I shoot it at this setup? That is the mindset of a professional trader. A fixed time window creates limits, and limits create discipline. Discipline is not forcing yourself to suffer. Discipline is creating structure, so you do not have to fight yourself constantly. If you sit in front of the screen 8 hours, you must resist many temptations. But if you sit only 2 hours, you reduce 75% of the chances to make mistakes. That is risk management at the behavioral level. Not just managing stop loss, but managing yourself. Another very big benefit of trading within a fixed time window is that you begin to separate life and the market. Many traders dissolve into trading, and all day thinking about trades, eating while thinking, sleeping while thinking, going out while thinking. And when a trade is negative, the whole day feels dark. When a trade is positive, the whole day feels euphoric. Emotions rising and falling with every candle. But when you only trade within a defined period, trading becomes a part of the day, not the entire day. You begin to have space to live, to exercise, to read, to talk with family, to let your brain rest. And those moments of rest help you return to the market with a clearer mind. Remember one thing. Trading with a tired brain and tired psychology is shooting yourself in the foot. You can have a good strategy, you can have strict risk management, but if the executor is exhausted, the system will break. I often compare this to long-distance driving. Either the first 2 hours you are sharp. After 4 hours, you start to feel tired. After 8 hours, 1 second of distraction can cause an accident. Trading is the same. The biggest mistakes rarely happen in the first hour. They happen after many hours of continuous exposure to volatility. A fixed time window does not only reduce overtrading, it helps you reset your mental biological rhythm. You know when to focus intensely, and when you are allowed to let go. That clarity reduces stress significantly. You are no longer haunted by the question, is there an opportunity I am missing right now? Because you already decided in advance. The market does not lack opportunities. Traders lack energy, and energy is the most valuable asset. Part 3. Choosing the right time. Window. According to market rhythm. And building a trading ritual to bring your brain into peak state. Now, let's go deeper into the practical side. It is not just about trading within a fixed time window. It is about which time window is appropriate for the market you are trading, and how do you ensure that every time you step into the market, you enter with a state of high focus. The first thing you must understand is this. Financial markets do not move evenly for 24 hours. They have rhythm, they have peaks, they have quiet periods. There are times of strong order flow. There are times that are almost just noise. If you trade Forex, the market is divided into 3 main sessions: the Asian session, the European session, and the US session. The Asian session often has a narrower range, slower movement, and fewer breakouts. The European session begins to bring clearer movement. The US session is often the highest liquidity, the strongest volatility, and also the most opportunities. If you trade stocks, the market has clear opening and closing hours. The first 3,060 minutes after the open often have strong order flow, with many decisions being made. The end of the session also often brings significant volatility as funds and investors adjust positions. If you trade crypto, the market is open 247, but liquidity still concentrates more during hours overlapping with the European and US sessions. So, what does this tell you? It tells you that you do not need to sit in front of the screen all day. You only need to choose the time when the market expresses itself most clearly, clear in trend, clear in liquidity, clear in structure. When you trade during periods of strong order flow, you do not have to squeeze opportunities out of small, directionless moves. You work with the market, not against its stagnation. What matters is not which session you choose, but that you choose a specific time window within that session. For example, you can choose the first hour after market open, or the overlap between 2 major sessions, or the 23 hours with the highest liquidity in the day. The core principle is, you choose, and you stay loyal to that choice. When you repeat the same time window every day, you begin to notice recurring behavioral patterns. You begin to understand how the market breathes at that time. You recognize familiar liquidity sweeps. You recognize how price often fakes before the real move. You recognize the speed of volatility. And gradually, you build an edge from familiarity, not an edge from watching charts 12 hours, but from observing deeply for 23 hours, like a bird researcher. If they observe at the same fixed time every day, after a few months, they understand the flock's behavior better than someone who looks randomly. Trading is the same. Deep focus in a short period is more effective than scattered attention all day. Now, let's talk about something even more important: the trading ritual. This is the part most traders ignore. They open the computer in a random state. Maybe they just had an argument. Maybe they are stressed from work. Maybe they are sleep deprived. Maybe they just read negative news. And suddenly they switch to analyzing the market. The brain has no time to transition states. Trading requires calmness, focus, and logic. Oh, but we enter it like opening an entertainment app. Create a simple ritual. 1,015 minutes before your trading window. Turn off unnecessary notifications. Take a few deep breaths. Open your trading journal. Review your rules. And ask yourself, do I have enough energy today? Am I being influenced by emotions? If I do not trade today, will anything truly catastrophic happen? Just a few minutes like that, but you are reprogramming your brain. You are telling your nervous system, this is a serious activity. Like an athlete before competition, they do not rush straight into the arena. They warm up because they understand that state determines performance. I have traded while sleep deprived. I have traded with a messy mind. And I have traded after proper rest, light exercise, and mental clarity. Same strategy. Completely different results. When tired, I move stop loss more easily. When tired, I add extra trades. When tired, I want to make it back. When clear-headed, I simply follow the process. If the setup meets criteria, I enter. If not, I stay out. No drama, no need to prove anything to anyone. A fixed time window combined with a preparation ritual creates a specialized space for trading in your life. There is a starting time. There is an ending time. It does not blend into the rest of the day. And when time is up, you close it. You do not return just out of curiosity, because that curiosity often pulls you back into the overtrading spiral. The market will always be there, but your energy is not infinite. The power of trading within a fixed time window is not about controlling the market. It is about controlling your own state. You no longer place money in the hands of a tired version of yourself. You only allow your best version to make decisions. And in the long term, that is the difference between those who survive and those who are eliminated. Part 4. The Paradox of Profit. Why trading less actually makes you earn more. There is a paradox that most traders take years to truly understand. The more you try to trade, the further you move away from sustainable profit. The longer you sit in front of the screen, the easier it is to destroy what you did right. And the busier you are with the market, the less money you actually make. It sounds contradictory, but look back at your best trading days. They are usually not the days you took 10 trades, not the days you stayed up all night, not the days you stared at every single candle. They are usually the days you took 12 trades, right setup, right plan, and then you stopped. Because when you trade within a fixed time window, you automatically eliminate 7,080% of unnecessary trades. Trades taken out of boredom, trades taken because price is moving and I don't want to miss it. Trades taken because you just lost and want to recover. Trades taken just to feel like you were doing something. You begin to understand something important. Trading does not pay for busyness. Trading pays for precision. And precision requires energy. Imagine you have 100 units of mental energy each day. If you sit in front of the screen for 8 hours, you spread that energy everywhere. By the time the best opportunity of the day appears, you may only have 20 units left to make the decision. But if you trade only 23 hours with deep focus, you concentrate all 100 units into that period. The quality is completely different. I once ran a personal experiment. For 1 month, I allowed myself to trade whenever I saw an opportunity. No time limits, no trade limits. The result? The number of trades doubled. Screen time nearly tripled. But profit did not increase proportionally. In fact, account volatility increased. Stress increased. The next month, I returned to a fixed time window. I cut the number of trades almost in half. Shut down when time was up. No, just checking for fun. The result? The account became more stable, the equity curve smoother, and most importantly, my psychology felt lighter. The paradox here is this. When you trade less, you make fewer mistakes. When you make fewer mistakes, you keep more of your profits. Thus, most traders do not lose because they lack winning trades. They lose because of too many bad trades. And those bad trades often do not come from the strategy. They come from fatigue, from overload, from staying in front of the screen too long. There is a psychological phenomenon called decision fatigue. Every time you consider entering or not, every time you adjust stop loss, every time you reanalyze the same structure, you consume energy. At some point, you no longer make decisions based on logic. You make decisions based on emotion. That is when discipline starts to break. And the dangerous part is, you do not realize you are tired. You just feel restless. You want to do something. You want to take one more trade. You want to be sure. A fixed time window cuts that chain of fatigue. It creates a natural boundary. Time is up. It is up. And no negotiation, no exception. Like a gym closing. You cannot keep training just because you feel like it. And that boundary protects you from yourself. Another interesting effect. When you trade less, you start valuing each trade more. You prepare more carefully, you wait more clearly, you ask more questions before entering. Is this setup truly worth using my bullet today? That question increases decision quality, and in trading, quality matters more than quantity. Many people think that to make more money, you need more trades, but professional traders understand the opposite. They conserve energy, they conserve focus, they let the market come to them. They do not chase the market. Trading within a fixed time window teaches you a deeper lesson than profit. It teaches you about limits, about not needing to be everywhere, in not needing to react to every movement, not needing to prove that you are right. You only need to show up at the right time, do the right thing, and leave gently. And when you can do that, trading is no longer a battle that lasts all day. It becomes a controlled part of your life. Part 5. Turning the trading window into automatic discipline. Even when you win big, even when you lose. Hard keeping a fixed time window for 1 week is not hard. Keeping it for 1 month starts to become difficult. Keeping it for 1 year, that is the real challenge. Because the problem is not logic. Everyone understands that overtrading is dangerous. Everyone knows that sitting all day in front of the screen is exhausting. But when you win big, you want to stay longer. And when you lose hard, you also want to stay longer. Those are the two biggest traps that break your time window. The trap of euphoria and the trap of revenge. I have fallen into both. There were days I entered a very clean trade. Price moved perfectly. Profit was strong. It felt like I had decoded the market. And right at that moment, a voice appeared. Today you're in the zone. One more trade. Don't waste this momentum. And I stayed. Not because there was a clear setup, but because I was euphoric. The result? Most of the time, I gave back part of the profit I had just made, because the second trade was no longer executed in the original calm state. It was executed in excitement. On the other side, there were days I lost 12 trades in a row. Not because I broke rules, just probability. But discomfort started to appear. Ego was touched. Why was I wrong? I need to get it back. And I stayed longer. The next trade was no longer a trade. It was revenge. And you already know the result, usually worse. That is why a fixed time window must be protected by rules, not by emotions. Write it clearly. When trading time is over, it is over. Whether you are in profit, whether you are in loss, whether you feel regret. Because if you allow yourself to break it once, your brain learns. This rule is negotiable. And once a rule becomes negotiable, discipline collapses. You need a simple mechanism to protect yourself. For example, set an alarm close to the end of your trading window. When it rings, that is the signal to close. Or write in your journal, my trading career is built on repetition, not on one extraordinary day. Repeat that sentence daily, because trading is not a one-session game. It is a game of hundreds of sessions. There is another important thing. You must learn to accept the feeling of missing out. When your time is up and price suddenly runs strongly, you will feel restless. You will think, if only I had stayed 30 more minutes. But ask yourself, what are you building? A sustainable system? Or a habit of reacting to emotion? A mature trader understands. There are profits they are not allowed to make, because the cost would be discipline. And discipline is the real asset. I have seen many people with good systems, good risk management, but no time limits. They trade when tired. They trade when in a bad mood. They trade just to feel like doing something. And gradually, they no longer trade the system. They trade their state. A fixed time window separates those two things. Trading is a time-bound activity. Emotion is a state that can arise any time. You cannot control when emotion appears, but you can control whether you allow yourself to act on it. When you only trade within your defined window, you drastically reduce the chances that emotion turns into action. And that is a massive edge. At some point, the time window is no longer effort. It becomes habit. Like brushing your teeth in the morning. You do not fight it. You just do it. And when trading becomes a structured part of your day, it no longer consumes your entire life. You no longer live by each candle. You no longer let one losing session ruin the whole day. You have space to recover, to review, to learn. And interestingly, when you are less attached to the market, you see the market more clearly, because you are no longer trapped inside every small fluctuation. The power of trading within a fixed time window, yes, ultimately is not about money. It is about self-mastery. You are no longer the one constantly reacting. You are the one who chooses when to show up, chooses how to act, and chooses when to leave. That is real maturity in trading.